Hey everybody, I'm back with our second blurb from Parenting with Proverbs. This is a great time for this information for moms and dads and grandparents and caretakers who have little ones at home with them, or teenagers at home with them, or maybe even an ornery spouse. This time we're going to do the session on quarreling and peacemaking. I figure that'll come in handy because we're all at home 24/7 basically, and disagreements are going to come up, and kids are going to get on each other's nerves. And so the Gilkersons have some great information, and they've used Proverbs to come up with these ideas for parents. So first of all, it's normal to disagree. Certainly, we probably disagree with everyone we know about something or other. Don't even get people started on politics or on Corona handling things, but it's normal to disagree. The key is how we react when we disagree. Are we going to be a quarreler, or are we going to be a peacemaker? And which way is going to have more impact, more or a better effect? So think about your last argument or some of the arguments you've been involved in, and tell me what you think describes you. Are you someone who stirs it up? Do you like to stir the pot? Does anyone call you hot-tempered? Or are you ever have you ever been told that you have angry outbursts? Is that your go-to method, or do you get defensive and angry? And are you just a quarreler? On the other hand, would you be described as someone who tries to be peaceful, someone who tries to be calm, someone who is kind of level-headed, and someone who is slow to anger? Which one are you? Where do you fall? My guess is, depending on the topic, well, you have a range. There are some things where I can be pretty peaceful about it and calm, but if you hit the mama bear button, you better watch out, because that's where the ugly comes out. So anyway, the book today, the proverb they're using is Proverbs 15:8. A hot-tempered man stirs up strife, but he who is slow to anger quiets contention. However, the way most of us know it is, a gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. I have used this one before. I love this one. Because I'm a sarcastic person, and I can be pretty quick with some ugly comments. And this is something I have fought since I was a teenager, when it came out in full force. And so I wouldn't consider myself hot-tempered, but I am pretty sarcastic. And I think that falls in the same category, because that can kind of exacerbate a disagreement instead of trying to make it better. So the whole point of this is that we want to be slow to anger. It's okay to get angry. Jesus got angry at the money changers. God has gotten angry for the right reason and in the right way with the right response. So it's okay for us to get angry. The thing that matters is, what do we do with that anger? We should not be annoyed. We should not attack. We should not be explosive. We should not be hurtful, demeaning, or any of those things in our anger. Instead, what this proverb is telling us is that we need to be slow to anger, be still, be calm, be peaceful, process it, swirl it around in your mind a little bit before you let any response come out, before your reaction comes out. That's how you can be a peacemaker. If you are able to be a peacemaker for arguments and disagreements, then your relationships will be good and they will stay intact. Many of us know that if you are not able to be a peacemaker, and instead you go about anger in a way that is more hurtful, those relationships may not stay intact. They may need healing. So the disciples fought, and I love this story. James and John come up to Jesus. This is in Mark 10, and they say, "Hey, Jesus, we want you to do something for us." And Jesus says, "Well, what do you want?" And they said, "We want," James and John, we're brothers, "we want to sit at your right and at your left." And Jesus says, "Are you ready to bear the cup that I bear?" And they're like, "Oh yeah, we got this." And Jesus said, "It's not your place." He says to them, and I use this with my kids all the time. I think this is very impactful. Does it matter to them? Probably not, but it matters to me. He basically says to them, To be first, you must serve. To be held in a place of honor, you must be a slave. Basically saying, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. And so when my kids are arguing about who, well, it used to be who you get to ride in the front seat, now it's who gets to drive. And they always are like, oh, me. They try to get the first one, shotgun. I'll say, and the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. Oh man, it drives them crazy. It's hilarious. But it's a good concept for them to get in their head because, especially the teenage years, their brains are not fully functional yet in the idea of thinking of others and in consequences of their action. And so this helps a little bit. If you start earlier than I did, maybe it'll help the teenage years be a little easier. But so I have a few questions for you by the author, just to kind of think about. The first one is, why is being hot-headed a bad way to settle arguments? And this is something you could talk to your kids about. One day I said to Emma, Emma, I need you to make sure you do the dishwasher today. It's your day. She's like, stop yelling at me. And I said it just like that. I'm like, this is yelling at you? She's like, yeah. I'm like, do you want me to really yell at you? She's like, no. So anyway, she tells her friends that I yell at her, and that's what I've done. So I think that's hilarious. She feels this need to tell her friends that her mom yells at her, I guess, so she can fit in. But I have found that if I'm hot-headed, generally I get flustered and tongue-tied, and I can't get my thoughts across the way that I should or want to or intend. Sometimes if I'm super angry about something, I will write. I'll either write an email or I'll just write something to myself and then delete it. But I just need to get those thoughts on paper in an organized way, and that makes me feel better. I got furious the other day about not being able to get my glasses fixed at Walmart, and I was like, I'm gonna contact their manager and I'm gonna make those ladies feel bad for not getting my glasses fixed and yada yada yada. And then I went home, took a shower, and then felt better. And of course I haven't said anything about it. I am going somewhere else to get my glasses though. But I was able to curb the hot-headed feeling with some time apart. And so these are some things we can talk about with our kids. The other question is, are you a peacemaker or do you stir up strife? And so we can help our kids look at the way they get angry with each other or with us. For example, Emma and Lily they're great friends, but if they get in a disagreement, they get ugly to each other. They physically lash out at each other, which drives me crazy. They're both literally almost teenagers now, and so I have to remind them individually. I have to say, hey, this is your forever best friend. It's your sister. You don't get rid of her. How could you have done this differently? Now, I like to think that I have some great ideas and I'm very logical in the way that I present these to my children, but I can tell you it's about 50-50 whether it works or not. So maybe I'm still doing something wrong. But ask them, are they a peacemaker or do they stir up strife? Ask them about an argument they've had and ask which way ended better, when you were stirring the pot or when you were calm. What got the best result? The more specific examples you can use, I think the better. And then the last question for you to ask them is, was Jesus a peacemaker or was he one to stir up strife, to cause troubles, to be hot-headed? And of course, some of your kids will immediately throw back the anger at the money changers, and you're going to be like, great job, I'm so glad you know that story. Okay, tell me another one where he got angry. And you should hear crickets. So Jesus being a peacemaker, we need to remind our kids that we're striving to be like Jesus. He set the example for us and to live well. And we want to follow that example. And we won't always get it right, but our job is to keep trying, to say we're sorry when we need to really be sorry when we're sorry, and to own it, to be accountable for our actions. So I wanted to leave you with a few extra Proverbs. I don't know if you've ever read some of these Proverbs. Honestly, they are hilarious. This one isn't with the lesson today, but the one of my favorite proverbs is a leaking roof is like a nagging wife. I think that's hilarious. Okay, anyway, some of these are fun too. Proverbs 12:16, the vexation of a fool is known at once, but the prudent ignores an insult. Turn the other cheek. And then Proverbs 20, verse 3, it is an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. Proverbs 26:21, as charcoal to hot embers and wood to fire, so is a quarrelsome man for kindling strife. And then Proverbs 30:33 cracks me up. So true though. For pressing milk produces curds, pressing the nose produces blood, and pressing anger produces strife. That's our word for the day, parents. Let's see what we can do with our own strife, with the strife of our children, and let's make some more peacemakers out there. Have a great day.